Hi everyone, my name is Aiden Knifer. Welcome to my channel. And today I'd like to take you on a journey through a project that I've been working on since 2010. For over a decade I've been doing a 365 project, which is take a photo a day, every day for a year. Times that by, 14. So it's been an amazing experience in my life and I'd like to share it with you guys. So let's dive in. I began my 365 project back in 2010 mostly as a personal challenge and a way to capture all the little moments that I didn't really want to forget. The first photo I ever captured was in 2010 when I was with my daughter in Blockbuster. Yes, they still had Blockbuster back in 2010, believe it or not, for all those who remember even what Blockbuster is, or was, I guess. That was a movie rental store. Back in my day, Sonny, we used to rent movies. We didn't stream them. And there was orange groves as far as the eye can see. Anyways, yeah, so Blockbuster. So my daughter, she was 5 at the time, maybe 4. Grabbed two DVDs off the shelf and stuck them under her ears and went like this. It was adorable, so I snapped a photo. So it was little moments like that that I wanted to capture, to keep, I guess, so to speak. So I'd heard of a 365 project before. I was kind of skeptical about it because, I mean, you're taking a photo a day, like that's kind of a commitment, but I'll get into that after. I've documented so many things over the years, my life, the people around me, even the smallest details that I might have otherwise overlooked, like I've even gotten into macro photography, which is a wonderful genre, and actually this week that's what I'm going to be focusing on for my 365 project. Pun intended, focusing. Anyways, so you might be asking, what exactly is a 365 project? Well, maybe you won't be asking because I've kind of spilled the beans at the intro, but basically it's a personal commitment to take one photo every day for an entire year. It's a big commitment or a little commitment, depending on how you want to run your project. If you decide that you want to do this, that this is for you. But at the same time, it's much more than just a commitment to taking a photo a day. So typically a 365 project involves 3 things. So it's a daily photo, obviously, hence the name of the project, 365 photo a day, which can be anything you want. So anything from the extraordinary to the most mundane thing. From what I understand, the original 365 project started out as a selfie a day, a self-portrait or selfie, whatever you want to call it. But people, I personally don't like taking selfies a lot, let alone every single day. It's not my thing, because that's, I prefer to be behind the camera. So yeah, selfies aren't really my thing, even though I've done a few selfies for my 365 project. And I'm not gonna lie, most of those were, oh crap, I didn't take a photo today. There's my photo a day. So the second thing that involves is commitment, of course. The goal is consistency, or creating a habit, if you so desire. The challenge is to take a photo every single day without skipping or backtracking. Now, this is where I cheated in my first year. If I missed a photo, I would take 2 photos the day. I would take 2 photos the next day, one for yesterday and one for this day. Not really, I don't do that anymore. That was the first year thing, as I'm like figuring everything out. Also, another thing I would do, which I don't recommend, is I would take photos that I had shot like a week before and re-edit them, and that was my photo a day. No. So my first year isn't a true 365 project, but I don't really tell anybody that, but now you know if you're watching this video. Thank you for watching this video. So I missed many days, many days. There's been times where I have quit in frustration, and like months later I just go back to it. I just randomly pick it up again. That's a story for another video. With regards to commitment, I'm at a point now where if I don't take a photo every day, even if I pull out my cell phone, there's something off. So it's very much, this photo happened on this day. There's no skipping a day, there's no backtracking, there's no fill-ins, as it were. So the third and final, maybe not final, maybe there's 4 eventually, but whatever. So the third thing is focus or theme. So some people like to choose a theme. Every week or every month, someone might choose a theme, like I'm gonna take photos of things that are red, or I'm gonna take macro photography for a week. Even though I said earlier I'm gonna focus this week on some macro photography, I'm not a theme person. I'm a very much opportunity driven person. I'm not a big fan of themes because I feel like they're constrictive. I don't want to go hunting for stuff. I like life to unfold before me and then capture it. So that is my wheelhouse, so to speak. However, I don't discourage themes. It's just a personal thing. Themes can be very good because it gives you something to look for, or it kind of keeps you on track, as opposed to my way where I could be like, oh crap, I didn't take a photo today, here's my selfie, click. So yeah, so a theme is definitely a good thing, not my thing. That being said, I've decided to do macro photography this week. There's a reason for that. That's for another video. It's not really has to do with 365. I'm just kind of combining it all into one. So there you go. So at the end of the day, the 365 project is whatever the heck you want it to be. At the, the whole distilled down to everything, it's just taking a photo a day. If you have kick-ass camera equipment, awesome. If you have a cell phone, awesome. It doesn't matter. It's your project. So now you might be wondering, why would anyone make a commitment to taking a photo a day? I have a busy schedule. I got so much on my plate. Personally, I even, I've missed months. I've quit it. It's frustration. Again, another video. So here's what I've learned along the way. So first, it builds consistency. So over the years, I've had days where I didn't feel like it, or I've just been too busy. Like I mentioned before, I've just been way too busy to take out my cell phone. Just, there's been, which is interesting because during those days, I know that there's some cool stuff going on, but I don't think about it because I'm all like at work, spinning around and getting stuff done. A photo a day is not the first thing on my mind, which maybe I should get into themes. I don't know. But having the commitment has pushed me to keep creating. So even beyond the days when I don't want to or I forget, there's still a creative element in there. And when you're done the project at the end of the year, there's just this fulfilling feeling that you still did it. And case in point, like here's a pro tip. Even the days when you don't feel like doing it, when you look back at your full project where you took a photo every day, you're not going to remember that you didn't feel like taking it. You might, but I don't. I look at the photo, I'm like, hey, that's pretty cool. I wonder what happened that day. Well, I took a photo of that, so I kind of know, but I don't really remember that I was like, I don't really remember that it was a last minute thing, unless it's a selfie, for the most part. So, that last day. Okay, so now that being said, yeah, there's even days where I've quickly taken photos of my dogs. We currently have 4 dogs. I won't get into why, but they're all awesome. So if oh my goodness, it's the end of the day, click, here's a picture of my dogs. I don't care that it was a last minute thing. That's my dog. I love my dog. This is a beautiful photograph, and now they're immortalized in my project. So I've unfortunately gone through many dogs. I love all my dogs. I'm a huge dog fan, and the memories of my past dogs, my past family members, are amazing. So I'll go through this project, and the days of my past 4-legged family members comes up, and it's definitely something to remember. So if you have dogs, do a 365 project and take a photo of them every day. You won't be disappointed. Do it for a year. Take a photo every day of your dog for a year. You will not be disappointed. So another big benefit to taking a photo every day is skill improvement. I mean, if you do something every day, how can you not get better at it? Just by virtue of doing something every day, even if it's 5 minutes a day. I've been able to explore new techniques in photography, such as lighting, play around with different lenses, like different subjects, like my dogs, my daughters, different compositions, things like that. Kind of wrap my head around the technical side of photography, but also to the different genres of photography. So photography is kind of like a catch-all term. There's this weird belief that if you're a photographer, you can photograph everything. Not true. So case in point, let's say, by argument, I am a sports photographer. I'm not, but let's just, for the sake of argument, say I'm a sports photographer. To do sports photography is an entirely different mindset and equipment required than macro photography, than portraiture photography, than landscape photography, than technical photography. You know what I mean? It's like saying, you know what, I want to get into sports. Cool. Like, what sporting equipment should I buy? It's exactly the same thing. I'm going to do an episode on that because it's kind of a point of contention for me. But, you know what I mean. So, different genres of photography. Street photography, that's a fun one. Portraiture, macro photography. And I mean, you can do all these stuff, but depending on if you have the equipment available or if you even have an interest in it. Maybe you have no interest in portrait photography or going out on the street and putting yourself out there and looking like a weirdo or feeling like a weirdo. Trust me, it's not as hard as you think. Take it from me. So just by doing this every day, like I said, you just by virtue get better at something. If I were to pick up a sport, say basketball, and play half an hour a day, whatever, you're gonna kind of get better at it. So from experimenting, so something like long exposure photography. Long exposure photography is good for like waterfalls or nighttime. But when I was in Ottawa last year, I threw on an ND filter and did long exposure photography on the street, and I got some pretty good results, which I'm happy with. And I never would have thought in a million years to even do, let alone attempt. So the project for me is kind of open doors for that kind of thing in the photography sense. Then there's the creativity. Yaha. So a 365 project has the potential to encourage you to think outside the box, whatever the box may be. Everybody says think outside the box. Is there really a box? Yeah, it's debatable. Anyway, another episode. So it's a chance to see the world differently. Before, I don't even remember how I used to see the world. I think it was kind of a pessimistic view. But now I see the world as more, everything has beauty to it. Sounds cheesy, but it's true. I see things in light and shadow in an artistic sense, not as a dualistic philosophical sense. I'm sure that's good as well. And you start noticing the little things that people take for granted, or I take stuff for granted too. So whatever, the things that people take for granted. And I actually kind of wrote a book on it called Mundane, everyday things that people overlook or would pay no attention to. It's a shift in perspective, which I think is one of the more valuable parts of the project. Like I said before, I began to see the world in terms of light, shadow, composition. My outlook on the world is everything I notice is potential art. Not just photos or photography, but art. So I've touched on this before, but documenting your life. Taking a photo a day of your life, it's highly interesting. It's interesting to see where you are at one point in your life and how you how you evolve to the person that you are today, and then where you're going as well. So looking back, I can see how much I've grown and what I value at different times in my life. all of the phases I've kind of been through within the 14 years, and even how my photographic style has evolved in itself. So each photo is kind of like a timestamp of your life where you capture a moment forever. It's like a fragment in time. So imagine having 365 photos to look back on over a year, but imagine over a decade. It's like keeping a visual diary that you can go through, and it's definitely something I'll treasure. And I think most people that do this project do as well. Lastly, this project has been a lesson in confidence. Not only has it helped me to find my style, but it's also helped me amass an archive of imagery. So the premise is to take a photo a day, but let's be real, I can take a photo a day, but it's rare when I actually just take one photo a day. I'll generally take like 10, at least 20, 50. Depends on what's going on, especially on the weekend when I'm not at work, which is funny because anyway, I'm a photographer at work. So, but also the 365, like I've said, it's a personal journey. And all those photos that I have in archive, what am I going to do with them? Like, I take one for the project, but if I've shot 50, or if there's 20 that are good out of the 50 or whatever, like, honestly, not all the photos are good that I take. That's another episode. But all the photos that I have, like, what else do I do with them? I have one for this project. Well, that opens up other projects. So thinking about other projects that encompass the photos that I've taken, not necessarily a 365. If you're really considering sharing your work or doing professional work, a 365 can be an amazing foundation. There's a few tips I have that I've learned over the years. So first and foremost, start simple. Try not to overthink it. You don't have to prepare yourself to do it. Just do it. Case in point, when I was in Blockbuster Video, my daughter had the DVDs like this, and I thought that was hilarious, and went with my cell phone, and that's what started it off. I mean, I didn't have my high-speed DSLR camera. I didn't have a DSLR camera, but I had like a camera. I didn't have that on me. I just had my phone. So you do what you can. So just start. Don't even overthink it. Use your phone. Get a camera later. If you have a camera, that's awesome. Cameras are amazing, but they're not the end all and be all to get started on this. Set a reminder, especially when you're first starting out. After 14 years, I don't need a reminder. Some days I do forget, and I'm like, oh crap, I didn't take my photo of the day. That's rare. When you're starting out, it's like anything, it becomes a habit. However, if you're not used to taking a photo a day, it's not a habit. You will forget, most likely. So in the beginning, just set a reminder. I recommend maybe setting a couple, one in the morning, one in the afternoon, one in the evening, because let's face it, you're at work, a reminder to take a photo goes off. It might be an inopportune time at that time. Perfection, let go of it. Don't worry about perfection. It's your project. You don't even need to share it with anybody. It can be like a diary. You know, if you want people to read your diary, you can, but most of us don't. You don't have to share any photos that you don't want to. There's photos, I generally kind of put it up on Facebook, but I think I only have like 4 out of the 14 years that are publicly accessible. The rest are mine. They're personal. It's my project. Maybe I'll write a book. But you don't need to share anything. There's no obligation to share anything, but by all means, if you want to, you can. Of course, I mean, it's your project. And enjoy the process. I mean, it's fun. There's been times where it seemed like a chore for me, and I've straight up have quit. Again, another episode, but it doesn't have to be a chore. It depends on how much time and energy you put into it or want to put into it. I mean, you don't have to do a studio setup every darn day to get the perfect photo. You can. I do not. There are days when I take out my cell phone, like I said, and take a photo of my dogs or whatever. So yeah, enjoy the process, have fun with it, and remember, it's an experiment. This whole thing's an experiment. It's not it's not perfection. Just play, break the rules, learn the rules, and then break them. Learn rules to break them. At the end of the day, if you're thinking about doing a 365 take a photo a day project for a year, go for it. It's a commitment, but it's kind of a priceless commitment, especially when you're documenting your life. If you're taking that route as opposed to learning photography for the sake of photography, which is good too. It's very good. Each day brings a new perspective, and you create a new memory from the day before, or the week before, or the 14 years before. Stuff that you won't forget. And if you do, you just kind of look back on it. I remember what I did that day. That was a good day. I'd like to hear in the comments below if you plan on starting one or if you have started one. If you have any plans to start one or need encouragement or advice, please feel free to message me in the comments below. I'm supposed to do this. I'm a YouTuber now, apparently. And yeah, I'd like to hear your comments, even on this video. If you have feedback for me, I'd love to hear it. I'm not a video person. I'm a photographer, so this is kind of new-ish. I'm definitely not an in front of the camera person at all, so that is 100% new. But here I am, because my 365 project has now opened up this interest for me. So yeah, thank you for watching my video. I appreciate it. Feel free to subscribe and like my channel, because I'm supposed to say that, I guess, but please do that anyway. And yeah, I hope to see you at the next video, and I hope that you start a project.